So, happy Thursday to you. I hope things are going well with you and all the circumstances in your life. Just seeing and sensing God's presence in that, and just knowing that He's always available to us, both in taking time to pray as well as casting our cares upon Him and being in His Word. And so, just great to be with you to share just some visions and our insights into the Word, not visions, insights into the Word. And just to, something, that you might be curious about. For many, that I injured my leg a few weeks ago, and so just wanted to let you know that it's really almost completely recovered. Glad to know that I'm walking normally. It's good to have that experience, to move in a way that doesn't cause any pain, and, the swelling going down and all the different things that would be commensurate with things healing up. So, just figured I would let you know that if you haven't been here to see me walking around, but maybe were aware of the fact that I had been injured, so I figured I'd just pass that along. But also, certainly want to focus our attention on these Beatitudes. It's such important principles to know what God affirms, what Jesus is looking for amongst His people, the people that would be called by His name. And as He's establishing His kingdom through His sacrifice, through the salvation that He offers, again, what kind of people does He want what is He encouraging us to be? And these Beatitudes really do give a model. And so therefore, we see, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. And just to reflect on what we saw last time, is that mercy is about not holding people's sins against them and not giving people the punishment and judgment that their sins deserve. We're being merciful when we enter people's lives and identify with their pain and fallen state and express compassion and kindness. In living out mercy, we ultimately become a conduit for the mercy God has shown us. And what Jesus tells us, if we stop expressing mercy, we will stop experiencing mercy in our lives. So that's a good synopsis of just what we saw last time in terms of just that beatitude. But moving on in terms of what it says here is, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. And so, therefore, what do we see in terms of, just what this beatitude means? Well, the Greek word for pure here was actually used in three different ways, three different contexts in the Greek living. And one, it had the meaning of clean, and was used of dirty clothes being washed and cleaned. It was also used of corn, which had been sifted and cleaned of all chaff, or an army that had been pure purged of all discontented, cowardly, unwilling, or inefficient soldiers, becoming a force of fierce fighting men. It was also used with the thought of something being unmixed or unadulterated, like wine or milk not mixed with water, or melted or metal with no tinge of alloy. So again, all those thoughts in terms of what did purity mean for the Greeks. And so together, what it means for us in terms of just our understanding of this purity, it's a single-minded commitment to purity and godliness. And it is contrary to double-mindedness and hypocrisy, in terms of just the purity of something, the trueness of something, the reality of something, the rightness of something. Again, and not being corrupted, a good thing uncorrupted by anything else. And I think that's really, the significance of Jesus adding the heart here. Blessed are the pure in heart, because when He talks about the heart, He's talking about the inner person. He's talking about not only being pure in action, not only being pure in behavior, but also being pure in thinking. And to know that, when we think about the inside of the cup, if you will, as well as the outside of the cup, we know that Jesus very much criticized people whose outside cups were clean, but the inside was broken. And so therefore, that's what He chastised the Pharisees for, just disconnecting my phone there. But anyways, just just valuing again, the purity of what is inside and what is outside, there being that consistency, because really that's what hypocrisy is all about. And I don't think we're unfamiliar with it, right? In terms of the face that we show to people, the way we want to be perceived in the world as far as being someone that's kind and good and gentle or whatever, but maybe inside there's hatred, or there's unkindness or lust or whatever it might be. And that's what Jesus is saying. That when we talked about purity, being pure in heart, it's pureness in terms of how we're operating on the inside, as well as what we're projecting on the outside. Both would be consistent with that idea of being pure. The thing that this pureness of heart, deals with is motivation. What motivates us? What causes us to do the things that we do? What we're looking to do in our lives is a right thing done in a right way. No, the ends don't justify the means. That it's means and ends that both need to be pure in terms of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And so to look at our motivation, to look at, why do we do the things that we do? It's never a bad idea to again, in terms of being pure in heart, blessed are the pure in heart, to take that assessment, to look at ourselves. And it's interesting because one part of comparison, one part of judgment is you can look at someone else's life and think, well, they must be doing this and their motivation must be this. Well, really what you're really saying is more, what would your motivation be in doing that? And yet, I think it's important for us to say, okay, when I'm doing this thing, when I'm saying this thing, when I'm serving in a certain capacity, I'm putting that post on Facebook, I'm helping out someone, I'm giving money to a certain situation. What is your motive behind that? What are you looking to? Not so much even what you're looking to accomplish, but again, what is empowering you and driving you from within? If we were to consider motivations that are like for right reasons, what are right motivations? Doing something to the glory of God, doing something to help others, doing something to express conviction from Scripture, to follow the Spirit's leading, or even to receive a reward in heaven. I don't think that's a primary motivation for us, but the fact that, rewards are spoken of, when Jesus talks about his kingdom and what we will receive, God, how God will recognize things. I'm always impressed with that Hebrews 11, where it talks about what faith is. And faith is believing is a God who rewards those who diligently seek him. And so there is that aspect of, again, it's okay for us to be motivated, but I don't think it becomes a primary one. I don't think it certainly is not exclusive, because, again, it's very easy for us to get a selfish motivation in the idea of seeking rewards. And so it's all about God. It's all about others. And so therefore, when we think about what are the wrong motivations, what are some things that we may look at, again, and we're thinking about blessed are the pure in heart. What are some things that might be corrupting in terms of what motivation is? And that is certainly, you don't want to glorify yourself. You don't want to do something to put someone else down or make them look bad. You don't do something to be in the spotlight, to feel good about yourself, to be recognized or thanked. Even talking to someone last night, just, looking to shirk responsibility, looking to, always protect yourself in terms of making yourself look good. And that those motivations, the human heart is very deceptive in the way that it can act. And so we have to watch out for, again, what things come up, because we may be doing one thing that is good, but on the inside, what does that look like? And it's great to know, that as God expresses this, again, as Jesus puts this out as a characteristic in his kingdom, to know that Jesus is there to help us to foster that, to develop that, to grow in that. One thing about impure motivation, mixed with good action, is it's very easy to change that. It's very easy to change. Okay, I was kind of doing that for selfish reasons. I was helping people and serving and, doing an active ministry in Sunday school or do teen ministry or, whatever it might be. And I was doing that out of pride. I was doing that, so I would get a pat on the back or someone would thank me for what I'm doing. But what I can do is I can just change that motivation and to know that as we engage with the Word, as we're filled with the Spirit, as we're in prayer with God, developing our relationship with Him, just know that God is willing to expose that. I think that's something, when David prays, search my inner being, see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in paths of everlasting or righteous. Psalm 136, maybe to 126, something. But anyways, David prayed that, and it's a great prayer to go before God and to be able to be vulnerable before God is such a great thing in terms of all the things in our lives that do need to be purified. Again, if we're going to be pure in heart, if again God's favor is on that, we're blessed. We'll receive the favor of God. We'll be blessed in our own operation in terms of our own hearts, and then we'll be a blessing to all people. I think all three of those things are engaged in this idea of Jesus saying that these things are blessed. But, the pure in heart, we need God. One thing that I think about, just in terms of my own life as well, is I need to be in the Word on a daily basis. Like for me to get too far beyond God's counsel and just how the Word pinpoints and convicts and encourages and just shines the light on our life. And we have levels of darkness that we're not even aware of right now. All the things that we pick up on in our lives, and just having again, not only our actions, not only the very thing we should think or we should do or we should say, but then looking at that more insidious part of what is your motivation? Why are you doing that? And we need God's help to assess that, and to know that God is willing in that. Now, in terms of this blessing, and we won't be able to get too far in terms of this. Let me just get because blessed are the pure in heart. For they will see God. Maybe the first thing to recognize is that as a Jewish audience is hearing that, blessed the pure in heart, for they will see God. The Jewish thought would be, no one sees God and lives. What are you talking about, Jesus, seeing God? I don't know that means seeing him physically. So I think that standard of, what the Jews would be thinking. But I think there's also an aspect of what Jesus is introducing to them is that because Jesus is God, on some level they're seeing God, but who else has the ability to talk about the right to see God but God himself, but the God-man, but the Son of God in flesh, sent by God to manifest God to humankind and then provide a means for humankind to get to God. That's what Jesus' role was. And so therefore, if anyone has the right to say, I'm setting a standard, and that standard gets this, where you get to see God, that he is the one that has a right to say that. Now, the Bible is full in the Old Testament of references that who can stand before God. I think we saw that in Psalm 42. Is that what the psalm we went through, where who can stand before God? It's the one with clean hands and pure hearts. So Jesus could be capitalizing on that. But I think that he is pointing to the access that he gives to God. That in some ways the pure in heart will see who Jesus is, and so by virtue of now seeing who Jesus is and understanding the faith that we have in him, that will be the opportunity to see God. But we'll have to unpack this, next Tuesday in terms of just what the other aspects are of that blessing. What we receive because of doing this thing. That's the pattern of the Beatitudes. Be this, think this, do this, and then here's the result. but what I think is important for us to understand is that, our occupation, our focus, our attention is always on that first part. That the second part is just what God promises He's going to provide in that, which always, that's His prerogative. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Okay, well, our thought, our effort is, what are we mourning over? What are we saddened by? Are we saddened by the right things? Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will see God. No, they will be heirs. Theirs will be the kingdom of heaven. That's kind of like seeing God too, right? But we focus on being poor in spirit, and then God gives the commensurate results in response to that. And again, that's the same thing here. Blessed the pure in heart. What is my attention? What is my focus on? Am I pure? Not only in terms of what I'm saying, what I'm doing, but what I'm thinking. What is motivating? What's going on the inside? And so much we know in terms of Scripture. So much of what is on the inside is going to be expressed on the outside. If you wonder, boy, why do I talk like this? Why do I act like this? Why do I treat people like this? A good place to start is what's in my heart. What is my thinking primed to? What is it oriented to? And so much brokenness, again, that's there, that then expresses itself in hurtful ways. And so just a good thing to think about, a good thing to concentrate on in terms of just what Jesus is instructing here. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. And we'll get to that second part of unpacking a little more next time. Other than that, God bless you in your day.